You need to break through this. Parents and grandparents, this is your responsibility. Do what you have to do. Get on the phone. Son, daughter, have you asked for a form yet to fill out so you can make sure you vote where you're a resident? Like here at our home? No, Dad. No, Mom, I haven't. Well, go online, folks, and find out how to do it, because in most states it's not that hard, but you actually have to do it. Now, if they're going to vote in Iowa, because that's where they're resident, you still want to have an influence on them, whether it's Iowa, New Hampshire, you understand, in a battleground state. If that's where they're legally supposed to vote, and you're pretty sure they're going to vote for Romney, or you think you can persuade them, then persuade them. Make sure they get their absentee ballot, and make sure they vote. Or on election day, make sure they vote. You know, there's wonderful volunteers out there. They're with political parties and they're outside political parties, like our Tea Party friends, of which I'm one. Americans for Prosperity, there's another group. There are other groups, too. You know, people set up rooms to make phone calls to get out the vote. The unions do this all the time. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you call your family members and you know they're going to vote the right way, or you think they might, or you think they need a little push or a little discussion, even a long discussion, that's where you come in. I figure if the 8.5 million people who listen to this program, if the vast majority of you agree with me, and there are many who don't, but if the vast majority of you do you realize we outnumber any organized party or union in the United States? Do you realize that? We talk about these issues every day. We know where this country's headed. We know our kids are in for a disastrous time when they reach our age if we don't get this government under control. We know what's going on. We have got to take control. And there are only certain times in our lifetimes when we can do it. And there's only certain times politically when we can do it. Now is that time. Not tomorrow. Not next year. Right now. Now's the time where you can make a difference. Just by picking up your phone. Making sure your family members, your kids and your grandkids are set to go. Don't overlook it. Don't put it off. There's nothing more important. Well, almost nothing, but you know what I mean. This weekend, I'm sure the campaigns are going to be knocking on doors, stuffing envelopes, making calls with computers and this and that. Let them do what they do. You need to take charge. You need to take charge. You can save this country. You can save this country. Do you know that? If 1 million of you make sure 1 million, 2 million, 3 million others, in your case, 1 or 2 or 3 others, are registered and vote, I consider you a patriot. I really do. When you consider all the men and women who put aside their careers, who even put aside their families temporarily to join the military. Some are gone for a weekend every month. Some are gone for a couple of weeks every few months. Some are gone for over a year overseas and put their lives on the line. Folks, this is not asking too much. This is what I call self-defense. You're defending yourself against the onslaught from the left. You're trying to preserve this society for your children and your grandchildren. Try and enlist them. Don't let Obama go to your child at some college or university and persuade that kid to vote for him. Don't let him come between you and your own flesh and blood. Because that's what he's doing. He's going to these community colleges and other colleges and universities. In Iowa in particular, Iowa, our brothers and sisters in Iowa, he's desperate to lock down Iowa. And he figures the way to lock it down is through college students. Well, let's get to your kids and grandkids, and let's make sure that doesn't happen. And that goes for all the other states. Every other state, battleground or not. You can do this. It's really not that hard. But you have to do it. You have to be in charge because nobody else is going to do it. There are forces at work here that are trying to separate you from your own kids, your own family members in terms of a vote. I can't think of anything worse than a father having his daughter cancel his vote or a mother having her son cancel her vote. Mark, what can I do? They're a lib. Okay. Well, then you're not responsible for helping them get a form or an absentee ballot or going on election day and voting. Do your best to persuade them. If they're not persuadable, okay, back off. But if they are persuadable, if they're on the fence, or if you know they're with you, then go get them. Take care of business. Because I swear to God on election night, if we lose this election, you're going to wish you did. And so am I, and so is everybody else in this country. Who cares? I'll be right back. Guess what I'm trying to say, folks? You're either all in or you're not in at all. That's right. You can wring your hands, you can complain, you can scratch your head. It's not good enough. It's just not good enough. You're either all in or you're not. And all in our case, is not that tough, is it? Can you imagine if all of those of you who listen to this program just get 1 or 2 or 3 people set to go who are going to vote for Romney? Can you imagine? We will overwhelm the other side, absolutely overwhelm them because they're not expecting it. They're not expecting you to take the bull by the horns and wrestle him to the ground. But you can do this. We can all do this together. We're all one, remember? And it's absolutely crucial. Now, for us to be all in really isn't that tough. We don't have to dodge bullets. We don't have to walk on hot coals. We just have to do a few things. Pick up the phone and talk to a couple of family members. And make sure, to the best you can, that you persuade them. And if you can't, so be it. But if you can, go for it. And also, I cannot imagine a parent or a grandparent who knows that their son and daughter or granddaughter and grandson are likely to vote for Romney and not contact them and make absolutely certain that they're ready to go. Obama's going after your kids and grandkids. He's doing it right now as I speak. And he's doing it all over the country. And he's got all kinds of hacks and cronies on college campuses because they think they own your kids and your grandkids. And he wants those kids and grandkids to go with him as the Pied Piper right over the cliff. It's up to you to save them. It's up to you to step in the way and to say, no, take your political hands off my son, my daughter, my granddaughter, my grandson. I didn't support them from birth. I didn't support them through their education. I didn't raise them, as I did, to become pawns in your effort, Mr. Obama, to fundamentally transform this country and destroy their future. This is big, folks. It's big. They're being targeted, and you got to do something about it. Everybody has to be all in right now. No more people sitting on the sidelines. We can't have it. Can't have it. Can't be observers. We have to be participants. I've said it many, many, many times, and I'll say it again. We own this country. And I was thrilled to hear Clint Eastwood and I'll get to him in a second. This guy's great. We own this country. We own this government, every part of it. And yet Obama wants to reverse the roles. We're not subjects. And we ought not vote somebody back into power who views us that way. And who views our children and grandchildren as individuals to be manipulated through fraud and pandering. Obama's not paying their college tuition. Obama's not paying for their books. Obama's not paying for their board, for their food, for their health care. They are, and we are. Obama's bankrupting the next generation to the point where they'll never come out from under. And he's there, pandering to them. Why do you think he had these Hollywood people up there on stage? Well, Mark, we had Clint Eastwood. Clint Eastwood says more in one sentence than those bobbleheads that the left have say in their entire lives. And I want to salute Clint Eastwood as I did the other day, and I also want to salute John Voight, who's a friend of mine, and others who have the guts to stand up and call it as they see it, because it isn't easy to do, even when you're one of the powerhouses in Hollywood. I want to salute Clint Eastwood, John Voight, Gary Sinise, and all the other great actors and actresses who love their country. I've been talking about young people on college campuses. Let me speak briefly to you senior citizens. Guys going on and on about saving Medicare. Well, let me tell you, and you know, because you're smart, Medicare's going out of business. Not in your lifetime, but in the lifetime of a generation behind you. It's going out of business. The people who run it, the trustees, and the people who are the accountants in essence for it, the actuaries, have told us this. It's done. In 11 and a half years. Obama has not only done nothing about it, but he ridicules and smears anybody who tries to do something about it. So Paul Ryan comes up with an idea, very much like Goldwater did with Social Security. Comes up with an idea and he says, look, everyone 55 and older, you don't even have to listen, because you're going to have the system we have in place, because you have organized your lives and your finances around this. You've contributed to it. So 55 and older, Medicare will be untouched for you. Now, under 55, we have to have a conversation. We need to come up with a system that is more rational, that is sustainable, and that won't rip you off as young people or as younger people. So he's come up with a number of ideas. He's tried to deal with it, and these now are used in attack ads by Obama.